In today's video, we're going to talk about the law of attraction. Now, this is something that I announced in a few different videos, and I already spoke a bit about it, but not really thoroughly. And that's what I plan on doing right now. So basically, a few years ago, some author, I don't really know which one, published a book called The Secret. And in that book, he describes the law of attraction. And basically, what it comes down to is what you think and basically your thoughts and the things that you think on a daily basis become a reality. Now, in some extent, this is 100% correct, and I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to explain to you how it works. Now, first of all, what you have to realize before you can understand the law of attraction is that, the universe, this three-dimensional existence realm that we live in, is basically vibrations, energy, and frequencies. Everything comes down to that. I don't know if you are into quantum mechanics or watch videos on that, but I highly recommend doing that, by the way, because it's extremely interesting. But what it comes down to is matter doesn't really exist, and a lot comes down to the observer's mind. And basically, what this tells us is that every molecule and everything that exists in this entire universe is essentially built by molecules and atoms and whatever. What it comes down to is this, that you can manipulate matter and basically everything with your mind. Now, of course, this is some kind of magic, which in some way you can have telepathic powers or some stuff. That's bullshit, or I don't know. I think it's bullshit. I'm not sure about that. But what it comes down to is essentially this: if you think positive, you will have a positive outlook on life. The way you think is like a goggle, it's like glasses that are put up in front of your brain, and the way you think are the goggles that allow you to watch the world through those goggles. So if you have positive goggles, it's going to be positive. If you have negative goggles, it's going to be negative. And essentially, what I'm trying to get at is, quit the toxic bullshit, guys, because at the end of the day, a lot of people look at the negative stuff in their life. They don't look at the positive stuff. We always say, I don't have this, I don't have that. We rarely say, I have this and I have that. We're always complaining about not having that fancy car or not having a nice house. Well, in reality, we're not even grateful for the fact that we have a house, and we even have a bike, or we were able to take public transport. If you have a house, if you have a bed, if you even have a personal computer or a laptop to use, then you are richer than probably 90 or 80% of the planet. Go watch some, do research on the internet about how people live in Africa or India or China. I think, especially in the West, people forget how lucky we are to be alive in this day and age. And we in some extent we're getting spoiled by the way we grow up. We're so used, our standard of living is so high, and we only want more and more, and we forget that we already have a lot. So what I'm trying to get at is this: have a positive outlook on life and things will be better. And basically what I'm now saying is something that I already said in other videos, but cut out negative stuff out of your life, like social media, mainstream media, because social media is bullshit. Acquaintances, what they're doing in their life, it's not something you need to know, and if they really want you to know, they'll contact you. Mainstream media is bullshit. It's designed to keep you watching. They only put news out that is, how do I say this in English, that attracts people, sensation news. That's the only thing they publish, and they do that because it's all for the money. Everything is based on money, everything. So don't watch mainstream media, because it's all bullshit, and it's all negativity, and it's war, and it's poverty, and essentially, yes, those things exist, but you have to realize that they try to give you this some sort of image of the world, and you have to think about how it correlates with your reality is what I'm getting at. So, cut negative things out of your life. Even people, if you have people like a coworker or a friend who's always negative and always nagging and bullshitting about life, drag them out of it, slap them awake, tell them, hey, dude, what are you complaining about? Stop bitching, stop nagging, And essentially, you want to change the way you live to have a happier and healthier life. That's the final goal. Um, so yeah, those are, in a few short words, that's the law of attraction. Because the secret, I don't even know. It's a big book, and it's an entire book about it. And I just, I gave you the quick bypass of the book. I give you the quick info on it in like 5-6 minutes. But I'm not gonna say, hey, go and read it, because if you're not a reader, then you won't do that. But it's an interesting read if you're interested in doing that. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe for more videos in the future, and I'll catch you all later.